Here's an AMI This Week shortcut with Grant Hardy.
We've heard from participants who've been coming every month that they used to never come to museums, and now they come, or they didn't think that art was for them because they assumed that because they couldn't see that they wouldn't get anything out of it.
Jessa Alston O'Connor is one of many art educators at the Vancouver Art Gallery, aiming to make art accessible for blind and partially sighted audiences at monthly described art tours. Participants like Tim Hurley.
She's got this technique that she does with with her voice, and then walks the length of a large piece. And because we are audio-centric, it's really easy for us to calibrate when she moves 12 feet left to right. And then, oh yeah, it's about that big.
Part of why Jessa's description is so polished is because of the gallery partnering with Vocali, an organization that describes live theater, arts, and culture to train art educators on providing enhanced description. Jessa describes some of the techniques she uses.
We frame a work in different ways, first being like a visual description so that someone in their imagination can kind of get an idea of the layout of the piece, what it's made of, how the composition is, and then we can start talking about the stories or the reasons or the symbolism or the context.
Those techniques came in handy because the works we looked at today were highly visual.
So today we looked at Robert Rauschenberg, who was a rising artist in the pop era. So he combines experimental printmaking with pop culture and media in these layered, colorful works looking at 1960s and 70s America. And so we looked at prints that are about his life and about the space race and about TV culture. So what we're looking at is a print that has layers of images all around the launch of Apollo 11. So the bottom half of the work is a scrap image of a diagram of the rocket ship. So you can imagine the image of a rocket ship in the middle of the paper, and then there's all of these words like tank, and then a line that kind of directs it to the fuel tank. And then we also looked at Vicki Alexander, who's a Canadian artist who also looks at fantasy and media and pop culture, and she made this collage room that wraps around us. So it was like walking into the artwork and experiencing it physically. So she designed this intentionally for the size of this room, so it's almost like we're walking into a fake fantasy world of textures and colors.
The tour was a great opportunity for everyone to ask questions about the artwork.
Yeah, was it printed both sides?
Ooh, great question. Because I can't touch the fabric, I'm not sure if he printed on this side or the underside, but he loved the kind of gray quality of the ink. So he printed on this sheer silk, and then underneath it there are other pieces that have been printed as well, and they're a bit darker.
And as Jessa mentioned, every viewer will experience something different. So she was ready for the tougher critiques too.
Well, this is not a derogatory statement, but I wish he'd had another inspiration.
Ah, rather than everyday life?
Yeah.
And really, that's why accessible tours like this are so empowering, because art will always resonate differently with everybody, but the point is that we're included, which as Jessa points out is huge and important.
When you take the time to do a few training sessions, you realize how doable it is, how easy it is for educators to transition into describing these ways, and you open up a whole new market in every community who's been left out of cultural institutions. It's doable, it's worth it, and it pays off.
I was impressed with how informative, inclusive, and respectful everybody was at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and I would definitely go back for another described tour. As for Tim, he couldn't be happier.
They have thought about what it is to give us accessibility to this visual world. And that's really, I really appreciate it. It makes my world bigger.